Okay, chopper jocks and scooter tramps all across the land. It's 9 o'clock-ish on the East Coast. That means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm your host, Chris Callen, joined by my lovely wife, Heather, and Mark Persichetti.
Hey.
Another week in paradise, man, here in Motorcycleville.
Yes, it is.
We're ready for our standard 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit. I want to thank all you guys for taking some time out of your busy, crazy, I'm sure it's totally insane holiday. Everyone's running around, packages flying everywhere.
There's a holiday coming up?
There is a holiday.
Wow. I forgot all about it.
It's one of those big ones too. You know, a lot of shopping.
Maybe that's why I forgot.
So if this is your first time tuning into Shop Talk, we do a lot of stuff here, talk motorcycles, custom motorcycles, performance motorcycles, all the news we can fit into the first part of the program. Then we bring a guest on. Today's guest, coming to you from New Albany, Indiana, is Will Ramsey with Faith Forgotten Choppers. Will's got a lot to talk about. A lot of people in the motorcycle industry know Will and know that he went down at the end of the year, and he suffered a pretty bad injury. We're finally catching up with him. Everybody's calling all the time because Will also writes for the magazine, and you know they expect that we know everything that's going on with him. And tonight we're just going to let you talk to him because we've had enough of that.
He bumped his head.
But the neat thing is, Will is a great example for how to take a standard business model, because Faith Forgotten Choppers, you know, incredible stuff that he does with fabrication and, you know, his framework and everything, his machine shop skills. He had that locked in. Over the last 2 or 3 years, Will has transitioned an entire other part of his business into performance and maintenance service, you know, so we're going to talk to him about that, because this is a good time for everybody to re-examine how they're doing business. So I guess let's go to social media, Blondie. What do we got from social media so far? Because on Shop Talk, we don't expect you to just sit there and listen to us babble on. We want you to get into the conversation, be part of it. So
and babble with us.
Let's see.
With
Pat Jansen is here. Pat hasn't been around for a while.
boy.
Hello, Mr. Jansen. Nice to
so
have you joining
none of
us.
us are at IMS this year.
No.
Was
John Bugkiller Baker. He's been waiting for the pod gods to stream you in.
Still waiting for sponsorship. I'm just saying. Just still waiting.
Larry and Karen Moore are in the house. Karen won Best of Show at Lone Star Rally.
Right on.
Let's see. Amy Keene is here. Aaron West, Donner, and I are tuning in from the garage, wrenching on the Sportster. Right on. I
Cool,
love father-daughter projects. That's awesome. Rich Batoniak is here.
Steve Broyles, Tom Kiefer.
Hi,
What's
Tom.
up,
Hi,
Keith?
Kiefer, I love your train. It's adorable.
Easy. This is a PC show.
Yeah, let's keep it.
It's a choo-choo train in his living room, you dirty bastards.
Start getting a little worried there. Thought
Drew
this show was going
Woodford.
south already. Steve Broyles. Hi, Steve.
Poppy, what's up, baby? So,
Dirty,
man,
dirty bastards.
this is the time of year where everybody starts heading back into the garage. I know we're in the garage ourselves. We got actually
I was on the garage today.
they pulled a winner for the Twisted Tea Chopper, so the lowrider is going to a new home. We'll bring that to you live when we take it to the guy that won. But we are in the midst of starting the hunt for a donor. If anybody got a good deal on an Evo Sportster or Evo Big Twin out there that you want to give up for a donor bike, and I mean a good deal. I don't want to hear about how your grandma needs a kidney and you need top dollar for your donor bike.
Christmas is coming.
I'm cheap and I'm broke. It's wintertime and I'm a motorcycle publisher. You got to understand.
Do the math.
But we're going to be starting all of our live stuff that we do when we're building the Twisted Tea bike. So this year we already got the design done. It's going to be totally badass, and we're going to unveil that thing again in March at Daytona. So
Can I tell him the coolest part about it?
yes,
It's not going to be yellow. It's going to have some yellow on it, but it is not going to be a yellow motorcycle this year.
It'll be yellow at heart.
right on. Tony Tello Sr. Hey, Chopper Town, loud and clear in Boston. Dude, Boston, you guys got hammered with snow. That's where Heather's family's from up there, and they sent us pictures, Mark. They're like, in 24 hours, I think they got 28 inches of snow. So her sister sends us a picture, and she's like, it's really bad here. And we said, yeah, you know, bad here too. And we sent her a picture of our backyard. There was like a dusting across the top of the barbecue grill. She's like, you guys are assholes.
Well, send shovels, Boston says.
All right, man. So like I said, if this is your first time tuning in, we do 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit, some entertainment, some guests that we have on, but we usually like to start it off with a little thing we like to call the news. First up in the news tonight, it's our sad responsibility to pass along to you that AMA Hall of Famer Clark Collins has passed away. Collins is well known for the work that he's done as an advocate for off-highway riding. His career as an advocate for off-road motorcycle riding includes helping found the Blue Ribbon Coalition Public Land Access Group, building national and regional coalitions among trail users, and helping get the Federal Recreational Trails Program enacted into law. Born December 19, 1941, Idaho, Collins caught the motorcycle bug while serving in the U.S. Navy in 1962 when he had a friend rented a Vespa scooter in Rome, Italy. And dude, how many times have we said that? Ciao, ciao. Like, there's nothing cooler than an Italian guy on a Vespa coming by you. Ciao.
Hey, ciao, Bella. And the nice part about that whole thing is, like, you know, we jack everybody off with their Vespas and stuff, you know what I mean? But look at it. Here's a guy here that, you know, Hall of Fame guy, started on a Vespa. So quit being so hard on these guys. Wheels are wheels.
Right on, man. So our condolences go out to his family, his friends, and obviously this is a big part of motorcycle rights has gone from us today. Next up in the news, Royal Enfield has added again, man.
I love this.
Boy, this is a shot across the bow too. Like, we got to talk about this one. So Royal Enfield, undoubtedly one of the coolest releases of motorcycle the whole year was them coming out with a Continental GT 650. Serious motorcycle. You guys read the report in Cycle Source magazine. I wanted to hate this bike. I wanted to come and tell you it was cheap and it was shitty and it was plastic. $6,500. I would buy one of these bikes, I swear to you God, and cut it up and make a cool ass chopper out of it. But for my daughter, I would buy it and just have her ride it because it's a great bike. Well, they're not stopping their U.S. invasion anytime soon here.
They're coming in hard.
And this is announced. Where do we get this from? Biz Times. Royal Enfield donates motorcycles to Build Moto nonprofit education program. Donations total more than $100,000 in motorcycles. But here's the thing about it. Motorcycle manufacturer Royal Enfield is donating more than $100,000 in motorcycles to a nonprofit program that pairs Milwaukee area high school teams with mentors to learn how to build bikes.
Keyword in that sentence?
Milwaukee,
dude. Like that is a shot across the bow right there. Like, if you had any question of what their intentions are about coming after the two big American manufacturers, that's it. They're going right into the hometown.
Obviously, they're pretty sure about their bikes, too.
Well, you know, and I have to give them a lot of credit because not only are they entry-level bikes, they're cost-effective, and they're going right to the people that will actually be able to afford them right out of the gate. That is an entry-level bike at an entry-level price. Right. It makes so much sense.
And it's easy to talk about outreach, but, you know, and I said this in our article in our test ride. When you put a bike together that's solid, that performs, and it's at a price point where young people can afford the motorcycle, that's real outreach. When you couple that up with this kind of community interaction, it's over.
Oh, and like I said again, them bringing it into Milwaukee, they're serious. They're not, you know, I mean, obviously they're stepping into, you know, enemy territory in all ranks and going right to the schools, teaching these people, give them an opportunity to not only get on, learn how to ride, but like Heather said, afford the bike if they like it.
Speaking of ranks, and that was a beautiful setup. Thank you so much for that. Turns out that Mississippi now ranks most dangerous state for motorcycle riders. This in from WCBI. Jackson, Mississippi. New data released by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. God, that's hard to say. It's even harder to deal with, but that's another story. And the Federal Highway Administration shows that Mississippi is the most dangerous state for motorcycle riders. This is based on fatalities per every 10,000 registered motorcycles in each state. Information released by NHTSA was cross-referenced with registration data from FAWA. Wow. You know, seriously. And surprisingly enough, in this ranking, Pittsburgh is not on there at all.
Not even in Pennsylvania.
And I thought for sure, like with the white-tailed deer population, I thought for sure
I guess they're pushing this solely to motorcycles. So, you know, I mean, check every car with deer dents in the side of it. So, but I was shocked that Pennsylvania wasn't on there either. I wonder they don't say what the accidents, the causes, and all that are. I'm curious.
It just
to
says deaths per every 10,000 registered
DUIs,
motorcycles.
if it's being run over. I mean, what the?
So making the list: number 2, South Carolina; number 3, Texas;
Where Helmut Clinton?
number 4, Tennessee; 5, North Carolina; 6, Florida; 7, Hawaii. Are you kidding me?
They're too busy looking at
How
the
is
water.
Connecticut not on there?
How can you? Let's not even go there. So we got people on here from Connecticut. I don't want to start any shit.
Hawaii, they're too busy looking at the water.
There's like 15 motorcycles in Hawaii, dude. You know what I mean?
No, actually, Noah's
I was
here.
gonna say,
we
Noah
need to
owns
get
them all.
Noah on the show pretty soon.
He owns 12 of them. Arizona's 9 and Missouri number 10. So
real quick,
that's your
Patrick
list.
Garvin says pretty sure Royal Enfield U.S. headquarters is in Milwaukee.
Well, look at that.
So
that's even
better.
Right on. So moving up, next in the news, I'm a little slow tonight.
Oh boy, here we go with this one. Oh boy.
You've been waiting for this one, right?
No, I'm trying to avoid it.
At age 78, Muriel Farrington has given up men for motorcycles, despite an otherwise vivacious appetite for sexual proclivity.
So sorry already. Let's apologize now.
Vermont resident Muriel Farrington really likes motorcycles. She's been riding them since she was 58 years old. While that might not be unusual, it's her current age and her continued riding that's quite remarkable. Muriel is 78 years old, and there's little in the line of things that can stop her from riding her bike. And while on to South Carolina, Muriel stopped in the town of Union and caught the attention of some local residents. Chatting with residents, Muriel told them that she started riding when she was 58. I was dating a guy who rode, and he kindled my interest. I should say rekindled, since my uncle had owned one. So somewhere here, are we getting to the she's swearing off men? Which is better, men or motorcycles? When asked, she preferred more men or motorcycles. She quipped, "Since I've given up men for motorcycles," she said with a chuckle, "it's less hassle."
Took her 78 years to figure that out.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that woman.
Okay. I knew you would.
That's awesome.
I knew
It's
you
so
would.
true.
What do you mean it's so true? And see,
Well, wait,
this
you
is-
have to ride first. You can't say that.
I can say that motorcycles are way easier than men because they don't talk back.
Well, I
And
mean,
see,
but you have to ride first to make that statement like this.
This is the problem with our world today, Mark. Because if I was to wear my old '70s T-shirt that says if it has tits or wheels, it'll
Right.
give you problems, I
You're
get
right.
ridiculed.
Yeah. You'd be looked down upon. Right. I got you.
Anyway, real quick, I want to mention you guys. We're coming to you through the privilege of the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio. Russ Brown bringing you Shop Talk every week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. Make sure you tune in. Coming through all the Cycle Source social media networks. We come out through Chopper Town also, and after the fact, you can catch us through your favorite podcast provider. That was pretty good, right?
That was really good.
I didn't screw that up at all. Something's wrong.
All right,
That was
next-
pre-recorded just to let everybody know.
Next in the news, adventure bikes are all the rage, right? Everyone's doing one. Husqvarna is throwing their hat in the ring and confirms the Norden 901 Adventure Tourer will go into production.
Oh boy.
I love Huskies. I love that they're back. I don't care what they do. Like Husqvarna Maiden's Feeding by Olga and Lars just for me.
Oh boy.
So, are you going to be doing a review on that? Are you
I
going to
would
try and get
love
your
to.
hands on
That'd be
one?
awesome.
I would love to. Anyone that's listening from Husky right now, please let me go beat a pair of these up.
Yeah, that'd be freaking badass.
Following the extremely successful unveiling of the Norden 901 concept model at EICMA, Husqvarna, that's because, see, I'm trying to lead in. It's coming. Husqvarna Motorcycles are pleased to announce that this exciting new twin-cylinder machine will go into production, a move that underlines Husqvarna Motorcycles' growing commitment to the street segment. Forming Husqvarna Motorcycles' vision of an adventure touring motorcycle, the Norden 901 is a dynamic twin-cylinder motorcycle that features advanced rider ergonomics, high performance based on years of rally experience, Featuring distinct modern design, it delivers both outstanding street and off-road performance. Class-leading lightness and power delivery is set in a versatile and accessible package, precisely arranged to allow... who writes this shit?
I don't know.
It's the guy that does the fast-talking commercials.
Boy, are they long-winded.
Discerning riders, uncompromised exploration possibilities, delivering effortless ride.
These are people actors, not
All
innocent
right.
people.
So listen, it's badass. Check it out. Go to husqvarna.com today. That came to us from Road Racing World.
Oh my God. Pat Patterson is watching.
No.
Shut up.
You shut your mouth.
Holy
Wait.
good
I'm going to let
gracious.
Mark talk to you directly.
He wants to help you test the Husqvarna.
Right? Dude, me and you, Mark.
Are you grounded? What are you doing home right now?
It's Sunday night.
It doesn't matter. It's Pat Patterson.
Right?
But not only is he home, but he's watching our show, and he commented.
Oh, wait,
it's a miracle.
Maybe he's sick. Jen, is Pat sick?
Dana Menifee,
Wait a
Suicide
minute.
Choppers, is in the house.
Hi, Dana.
Nathaniel Neffen is coming in from social media from Facebook right now. How do you feel about the Harley Adventure Bike? It's growing on me. Hopefully the price point is right. I'm not sure what the price point is, but I'm going to tell you right off of the bat, it looks big. And I say this having experience test riding a lot of Harley stuff, test riding Buell stuff. And I remember when the Buell Ulysses came out, and Ulysses was an awesome bike, but it was heavy as hell, and it was it was a little bit clumsy, and like some of these things, like when you look at the Husky, man,
It looks lean.
yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
And another one of our stories coming up real quick here is the how do I get rid of that? Somebody help me.
Hit it on, throw the computer on the ground real hard. That always works for me.
Triumph is actually coming up with a motorcycle you can see off to the side here behind their ad. It's the James Bond Triumph Tiger 900 and Scrambler 1200 in new movie. But this is Triumph's adventure bike, right?
And that even has a bit of a
Drew
bulky look to
Woodford says Buell Ulysses was way too high and heavy.
Yeah.
So here we go. Here's the Husky again. Here's the Triumph, which also looks like it's ready to do the Paris-Dakar.
Yeah.
And there's the Harley Davidson Pan America, and it just looks big, man. And I mean,
And top heavy.
yeah.
Kind of.
And I haven't done any proper reviews. Hopefully we'll get to. I'm just saying that when you're looking at this, there's Husky.
KTM. Pat said he thinks KTM owns Husky now.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Pat, we need you to get your facts straight. You got to be on this.
There's Husky. There's the Triumph. There's the Harley. It looks like a substantially bigger motorcycle. And for adventure touring, I'm not sure if
that would be a good option. Top heavy.
Yep. Yeah. So
Poppy wants to try it too.
yeah. Hey, I mean, listen. Maybe he wants to try the Husky or he wants to try the Harley.
Let's get them all. Let's do a
I
comparison
think
test.
we should do it. You guys should do a comparison test.
that'd be
Patrick Garvin,
fantastic.
tank looks wide in the Pan American, but fit and finish looks decent. He digs the tubeless spokes they stole off the Beamer. And KTM and Husky are the same.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I'm not surprised with the technology. Like KTM kills, man.
Oh, yeah. No questions asked.
Riding one of those bikes.
I'd never
is
say that
sick.
in front of Patterson, but yeah, KTM's top of the line.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll definitely give Patrick Garvin that. The fit and finish is cool.
Yeah.
I'm not so into this to the new motor look. Like it just looks too manufactured for me. But specifically, they're going after different riders with this, man. So
Yeah, and again, for the whole, the enduro-y end of it, that top looked just huge. I mean, it looks like it would really be hard to maneuver, in certain situations. So
yep. So soon as we get a chance, we'll be on one of those and bring you guys some live video here and we'll see how that goes.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Coming up to 9:22 now. I think we're going to take about 2 minutes here before we bring our first guest on, and we're actually going to look at some cool stuff from around the industry. I don't know if you guys have heard about this for about a month or so now. We've been bringing you videos that Billy Lane is doing from his YouTube channel. Really, really cool stuff that Billy's going through, and these are just little clips of the stuff that he does. So if you're not already following him, go and sign up to get notifications when Billy posts a new video. But for right now, we're going to take a break and check out what Billy's doing at Choppers Inc.
So I'm going to drill speed holes in this shifter arm for this Harley 45 Sons of Speed Racer. How I do it is I just take a seamstress tape, just just mark a hole. So then I just pick my center line. I just go by eye. I don't need to measure anything. Good like that. And lay this straight edge across it. I drill these holes out with a center drill because the bit doesn't try and walk across this rounded surface.
All right, man. We appreciate Billy letting us run those videos every week. And the Metzler tires, dude, I got to ride those personally in Arkansas. That is no joke, because it was pouring ass rain on the one part of the ride, and we were getting it with that. That Cruise Tech tire is super badass. Hey, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. We're coming to you live from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio. Another episode of Shop Talk, and I think we're going to get to our first guest of the hour. Actually, tonight is our only guest because we're going to take some calls. That's right. Get ready. We don't do call-in shows too often, so we're going to bring those in tonight.
We're throwing down.
So, price point on the Pan American, according to the internet, speculation is it's going to come in around the $17,000 to $18,000 range.
You know, that's not terrible.
So, and again, that's speculation
way
from a
more.
couple different sources on the internet. Don't quote me on that. It's not my...
Rocky on Moose here from North Dakota. Jamie Roberts loves his Cruise Techs. Thank you guys for watching the show. Appreciate it.
Heather just said, "Don't quote me, boy, because I ain't said shit."
She said what?
That's not what I said.
She said,
but
"Don't
anyway,
quote me on this," and I had a flashback to, "Don't quote me, boy, because I ain't said shit."
I don't. What is that? I don't know what that
Cruising
is.
down the street in my 6'4". Let's come on
Fail.
already.
So listen, man, remember, whatever social media channel that you're coming in on, you can put your comments, questions, concerns up, and we'll get to them throughout the show if we can. Heather is standing by. So anything that we're talking about, if you look up on the screen, you'll see up here somewhere, she puts up links of the stuff that we're talking about so you can go and read more about it. And appreciate all you guys being here. So sound off, man.
And if you have any questions for Mr. Ramsey, please post them, and we will. I'll try and interject.
So our first and only guest this evening is a longtime supporter of Cycle Source Magazine. He's our brother from another mother, probably one of the smartest guys in the room, any place we're at, and he had a little accident. Everybody knows that Will went down. Constantly getting questions about how he's doing, what's he up to. Turns out that he took a lot of this time and he really buried himself into his business. We're going to talk to him about all that tonight. So put your hands together for me and help welcome to the show, Mr. Will Ramsey. And look at that. You're live on Skype with us.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear
Right
you
on.
and we can see you.
So what's up, baby? It's been forever. You haven't been on the scene with us all year. Everyone's missing you. Everyone's worried about you. So let's talk about the accident first. What
I
happened?
kind of took a year off.
Yeah.
So it was May 8th. Craig and I went out promoting bike nights with the whole service center thing. We started hitting all these bike nights, drumming up business and stuff. And we were coming back from bike night, and I was maybe a quarter of a mile down from the shop, road we'd ride all the damn time. And I hit a bad spot in the dark and ended up laying my bike down, and I should have just kicked off, but it was my bike. It was a titanium chassis chopper, and I kind of sat on it and tried to slide it out, and it dug in, high-sided me. I wasn't doing but maybe 25, 30 miles an hour, but when you get high-sided, it's like a slingshot, you know? Snapped me over and landed on my back and broke 4 ribs and snapped my head open, and it took me for a little ride for the rest of the year.
Yeah. That's hard stuff, man. That's hard stuff. So how much have you been back on the bike now?
I took Craig's bike out, so my bike is still not fixed. Everything's fine on it. I need to redo the exhaust and the forward control and the handlebars and the grips. But you know, the paint was fine and the frame is fine. Everything else is fine. But the only time I've been on a bike this whole year was after we finished putting a bunch of money into Craig's motor and tuning it on the dyno. And he went out riding, and it was just a nice Sunday. And he said, "Man, you need to take my bike out." And I had just gotten one of the helmets that was sent to me as a present. And I threw it on, jumped on his bike, and rode for about an hour.
Now that's something for us to talk about real quick, because I know the story behind that a little bit. A bunch of the guys from the industry got together, got you a helmet, bunch of cool art on it. You want to tell everybody about that?
They did, and you damn it, I'm not going to remember everybody's name who was involved. It was Mark. See, this is the hardest thing with my head, is remembering everybody's names. It was Evan Favreau, George from Chaos Cycles, Meredith, and then what's his name? Jimmy painted it.
Yeah,
Jimmy
Jimmy Suicide.
Yeah, he painted it, and they just got me like a that black Biltwell, and he hand painted the helmet. Man, it's gorgeous. It's so cool.
Right on.
And actually, here it is, right here.
Nice.
The helmet
Yeah,
right
real
there,
nice.
man. It's sick. It's cool, right? And I've never worn helmets. You know, I've always been, and I'm still a firm believer in no helmet law. You know, I got into all this for freedom, and then we do this shit to live the way we want to live, and I'll never tell anybody to wear a helmet or not wear a helmet. I have friends that have always worn helmets, and I always wait for them, but I've never worn helmets. I absolutely hated them, and I will not get on a motorcycle ever again without a helmet.
Yeah, buddy.
But that's just my own choice, because, you know, I've been down a couple times bad, but I've never hit my head, and it changed your life when you wake up and you're just stupid and you can't think and you can't use, you know, what you're best at, you know.
Yeah.
When I had no ability to problem solve and no ability to think through anything, and
Well, especially in the position that you're in, because you're like so technical. Anybody that's ever seen you, when you're done with an article, or you're done with a session or something like on greasing gears, when you're done, you've learned something. I mean, you're probably one of the, like Chris said, one of the smartest people that we know. You look so much deeper than the actual piece of metal you're working on. So for you to have to stop and think, I mean, it sucks. It's a shame. So I mean, it's been sad time.
it scared the shit out of me, and it was really frustrating coming back. I mean, the neurologist told me how great I was doing, but I kept just getting mad at him, saying, you know, this isn't enough. Like, I'm not there.
Yeah.
What's it going to take? And I'm still not there. You know, it's going to take another. He says I'll be 100%. I don't know. Right now, the stuff that I'm dealing with is easier to manage. Just short-term memory, having trouble with names. As far as my work, though, I'm back on point with most of that, which feels good.
Well, you see on the screen right now, Aaron West says his accident is the reason I went to a full face. So glad you're still with us. And that was the kind of, I mean, there was just a mad outpouring of affection and concern and everything for when this happened to you.
In the past, I used to throw on, when we would go on rides in like West Virginia or wherever there was a helmet law, I would occasionally have the little beanies. I was really bad about going on trips and not even taking a helmet and then getting tickets or whatever. I just wear a hat. But I always hated the way the wind caught them and pulled up and drove me nuts. And when I threw on this full-faced helmet, which is admittedly the first time I've ever had a full-faced helmet on in my life on a motorcycle, it was actually really nice. I really enjoyed like not having my face beat by the wind so hard. And
yeah, they're actually really
helmet,
nice.
It doesn't pull on you. And we've talked about doing some reviews on some helmets and sort of my whole take on that whole lifestyle, that whole, Chris, you and I talked about it. It's kind of cool to see the change in the industry with the younger guys coming up and the integration of all these sport bike guys stunning on Harleys and stuff. When I came up, when I was younger, nobody wore helmets for the most part.
No.
And in fact, if you went to a bar out in Colorado when I was riding and you were wearing a helmet, somebody's going to say something to you.
Right.
You're going to get called out. So that was, the lifestyle was the tough guy look and all that kind of bullshit. Now it's actually become cool to wear a badass, like these Biltwell helmets are nice. And they're just some amazing helmet companies out there, and the full face especially, they just look cool. And these guys have made them cool with social media and Instagram and all the stunt riding and stuff. And it's become okay in a way, which is
the culture's changing.
It is. It's changing, and I like that. That's a good thing. And again, I'm neutral on it. I'll continue to fight for helmet rights. I don't like legislation or laws or anything that's going to interfere with any of our own choices.
See, that's the tricky thing here too. Like when you come out as a right to choose advocate, automatically the haters and the people who don't understand our lifestyle want to give you a ration of shit and say, well,
label you.
Why should I have to pay for your choice? And it's like, part of why we're saying that we want the right to decide is you don't understand how muddy the waters get. Like, the catastrophic loss fund, most of the time, I don't even know if I can say all of the time, but most of the time doesn't cover motorcycle riders to begin with. Yep. You know what I mean? Most insurance policies don't have driver benefits. You don't know that until you get into an accident and you find out that there's an exclusionary provision in your state. So there's so many more reasons whether or not you should have the right to tell me to wear a helmet. If you're going to tell me that I don't have the right to choose for that, then I get all of the other stuff that any other driver gets as well. You know what I mean? So it's a multifaceted issue. It's not as simple as just we don't want to ride with a helmet, but.
Right.
So Pat Patterson said he got a full face helmet this summer. It's what I imagined riding a bike with full suspension might be like.
Smart ass.
No.
I'm pretty sure Pat's been on a full face for a long time. I've ridden with him. For years, he's always had a helmet on.
And he agrees it should be a choice.
Unless there was like a photo shoot going on.
Yeah, then cool guy kicked it.
Then he's got his white glasses on and he is smiling.
His triple braids and his duck lips.
Yeah. He looks good. Love you, Pat.
All right, man. So listen, let's get down to the meat of this, because one of the things that we were excited to talk to you about tonight is the year that you've taken off from the scene now. Like, you've really, really devoted, and you were already, I shouldn't say that this happened just because of your accident. You had already looked at the fact that you had, in spite of your killer skills with fabrication and machining and everything else, you saw a very real need in the changing industry that we're all part of to broaden your business model. And this year really gave you some opportunity to do that. So I wanted you to come on and sort of talk, because I know there's a lot of people out there, both with backyard shops that are fixing everybody's bikes in the neighborhood and making a little bit of money at it, and guys that are struggling at small shops that could really benefit from hearing from you on that.
So the interesting thing is that the two worst motorcycle wrecks I've had have ended up being the most life-changing, and both of them directly influenced this business. In 2007, I went down real bad in just north of Columbus, Ohio, and then took me nearly a year to walk again. It ended my powerlifting career. I broke everything on the right side of my body. I trashed myself. That was when I made the decision I wasn't going to work for anyone anymore. I was living in the bars. I was bouncing, fighting, doing that whole lifestyle for money. And messing with bikes on the side, just living the bike life, riding like I always did. But I wasn't really building at that point. And it was actually that wreck that made me decide I wasn't going to work for anyone else. I was going to do my own thing. I didn't know what it was going to be. And I ended up building a bike in a wheelchair. That's my first chopper that I rode everywhere. I built almost that entire bike in a wheelchair. And
Are you kidding?
no,
I didn't even know that.
The end of it, I was on a walker. But the bike that started red turned white. You saw me for years riding it. The Craft Tech frame with a shovel head motor and a Paco front end, and it was my first bike, and I pieced it all together and kind of fought my way through it, and learned a lot from that bike. And that was 2007, and then I started the business in 2009, and now this year it was actually our 10-year anniversary. 2019, I wreck, and it gave me a chance to step back and figure out how I could make this work even better, And yes, I had a lot of this stuff in place prior to the wreck, but things have really changed this year, and we're approaching things different, and money is much different, which is nice. But I had to find a way to make both sides work, meaning money and being a craftsman and the integrity that I wanted to maintain, because the two don't go hand in hand, man. Being a craftsman is the antithesis of being an entrepreneur and a businessman. they don't come together whatsoever, man. When you're a craftsman, when that's your love and that's your passion, you're essentially like an artist. You're an artist with a whole lot of math in your head. And a businessman, entrepreneur, they have passion, they have what they want, but it's a completely different mindset, because when you look at work as a craftsman, you want the work. You just want to do the work. You want to be involved. You want your hands busy. You're excited. Somebody comes at you with an idea. You're like, yes.
Yes.
The problem is you finish that idea, you put your ass into it, and then you're fucking broke.
Yeah.
You can't pay your bills.
Nothing
right?
in your hand. Yeah.
Because you have no concept of what time's worth. You have no concept of how to deal with managing money and business and stuff like that. And, I literally was shooting from the hip for the better part of this last 10 years, man. And then the last 2-3 years, it's changed. I changed the business model a little bit, and it was somewhat organic in the way it grew. And I've dialed it in more this year, and it's really paying off. And it's allowing me to live the way I want to live and maintain my integrity. And that's always been the fine line I've had to walk with business and the work. You don't want to sell out. You don't want to change your integrity. You don't want to, but you need to pay the bills. You want the shop. You want the equipment. You want all of this. And but you go back and start at the beginning, I was in my parents' garage, for the better part of 7 years. And I had a little 2.5 car garage just filled with equipment, as I could afford things, I was buying stuff. And at that point I was buying things with cash, manual machines, my Bridgeport, my closing lathe, and I had one of my Miller welders then. And I started, that just grew, that just kept building. And that was all just being a craftsman, working on my skill. That's all I cared about back then was trying to be better, trying to find ways to improve my skill set and people to work with, and learning. That's all I ever cared about. Trying to just get better at everything I did. And I was so passionate about it, and I still am. I wanted to get more. And at that time, it was a time in the industry when everyone was downsizing, right? And I wanted to grow. And I had friends in the industry, people I respected, mentors that I looked up to, saying, no, you need to stay small. As a builder, you have to stay small. When you're trying to build a bike for somebody, if you're building a custom bike and you're getting, say, $35,000, $40,000 for a custom build, it sounds like a lot of money. It sounds like you're doing really good. When you build everything, when you put your hands on everything, when you build the frame, when you build the gas tank, when you build the front end, when you build the fender, when you build everything by hand, it's a lot of time. And when you really break it down, the money's not that great. I put a post up recently, actually today or yesterday, talking about the common quotes I hear so much, oh, you have an amazing job. Oh, if I only had a shop like that. Oh, you're living a life, this, that, and the other. And I have no complaints. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. But at the end of the day, this is work, and I put in a ton of hours. I was so happy when I finally got back to working 40 and 60-hour weeks after my head injury, because I didn't work for damn near 3 months. I was in here just drooling, and thank God for my guys. I couldn't hold it together without them. But then when I finally got back to like 80-hour weeks, which is what I was used to, then I felt like I was working again, right? And that's double what most people work. That's the normal week for me. So
when it's funny too, man, because some of the stuff that you're talking about there, it is like when you're first learning, you're developing your skill set and you're honing things in. That that's what it's about. It's about building those skills, and you're learning and you're building and you're learning, and that craftsman ideology that goes along with that carries over to being a good entrepreneur too, to being a good businessman, because those same things that you developed, you wanting to get better and wanting to know more, wanting to study on what best practices are, how to get from A to B. It's the same kind of thing that you need. Like the first thing that you need to know when you have a good successful business is not to try to do every job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
authority.
if you're really gonna grow, like Mark's dad has been invaluable for us in all advice about business throughout our life. But one of the earliest things that he taught him, that he tells us all the time, is one hammer, one paycheck.
Oh yeah.
5 hammers, 5 paychecks.
Right.
So
Right.
it's the same thing like in a motorcycle shop. Yeah, I'm sure.
And that delegation too, like you've always said before, you don't want to have somebody else do something your name's on. You're worried about the finished product. Sometimes, like you said before, Will, now these guys are invaluable. You got people in there you can trust that, it changes. Back in the day, you weren't doing that. You wanted to do it all by yourself. Well, now, once you find people that can do it as well and are concerned about the finished product like you are, and the bottom line and the name and everything and the interest in the business, then now you get to move on and trust somebody else's work. But that multiple hammer thing also comes with identifying what somebody else is putting out for
Somebody
you.
can swing a good hammer.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You got to
Absolutely.
have good
And it can be so hard to find that combination.
Oh yeah, real hard.
I've been very lucky in that regard. But going back to what you said, Chris, developing your craft, anyone who asks me, because I get calls, I talk to people, I've always tried to stay, from the get-go with me and my involvement with Cycle Source and having the opportunity to teach and the opportunity to interact with people in the industry. I've always tried to keep an open phone, and that's something that we did as the business grew. I always told Craig, if someone calls the shop and they ask for me directly, I'm available. Like, I'll make myself available to people that want to ask about a filler rod for welding, want to talk about a technique for welding, want to talk about something with machine work or design, or they want to ask me a question about setting up a front end or a frame or something. I always try to be available and keep giving back like that. But in order to be able to do that, in order to be able to build the business, do anything, the foundation has to be set on something, right? And for me, it's the craftsmanship, it's the skill set. Like, you have to develop a skill set to have a foundation to build this business off of. Otherwise, if you come at this just a businessman, just an entrepreneur, trying to get into the motorcycle world and make a lot of money, if you don't have the skill sets, you're going to find yourself looking for guys, to work for you and have the skill set. And I suppose that business plan works, but I can't even swallow that or figure out how that would work. For me, I had to have that foundation first. I had to work on the skill set, and I still do every day. Like, that's my passion, is continuing to get better at what I do and having my hands in it. But from there, I was able to figure out how to start building something and draw from different avenues and stay within this industry and stay passionate about what I love, but make a living, and afford this business and this shop. And, with it comes a lot of sacrifice. I live upstairs, man. I live upstairs in a very small,
Hey, and you know what, baby? That's
tiny apartment.
I say this all the time. There was a period of about 2 minutes that motorcycles had some real money in it. The story of 3 generations of the same family living up above the dealership of a Harley dealership, that was right here in our hometown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not uncommon. There was a Harley dealer here. A guy and his brother owned the dealership, and halfway through the day, he would go and drive school bus. He'd come back and run the shop, and his brother would go in 10 bar at night. You know what I mean? And those are real stories. Hey, real quick, man, there's a couple questions coming in for you. Tim Kearns, first of all, says, do you see another era of true high dollar custom bikes coming around again? Are there enough younger guys looking for customs? And Mike Draco wants to know, so Will, what did you change? What is different now?
We'll definitely get into that question as we keep talking about what we did, and I'm being vague right now, but we'll get very detailed about what the decisions I've made, how we've expanded this shop into different avenues and different areas of the motorcycle world, and drawn money and maintain the exact same philosophy and integrity. And we'll talk more about that. So I'll definitely get to this question. But in the first question, repeat it again. He wants to know, do you see another era of true high dollar custom bikes coming around again? Are there enough younger guys looking for customs? So by high dollar, if he means the guys who are getting like six figures for builds consistently, no, I don't. Maybe the bagger guys did. In the chopper world and what we do, I don't know. I don't even want to see it go back to that, man.
Well,
because
he comes back in and says, oh wait, this is Karen Moore, not 150,000 of the past, but the money that comes close to covering the hours in a build.
So I've changed my business plan with commission builds, and you probably won't see me doing as many commission builds for customers, but I do have a price point for that, and it is a price point that will yield me what I consider a fair price. Builds have not been and will never be the place for me to make money as much as they are a place to build money from. And what I mean by that is the best money-making motorcycles that I've built have been my two personal bikes that I built. Titan Shallow, that had the titanium gas tank, and then Wasted Wound, that has a titanium frame. And the reason those have made me so much more money is because I kept those bikes and I've taken them places. And when I take them somewhere, they become a point of interest. Yeah. And particularly here with the service shop, and we'll get into this too, how this played into the business plan. But, what we talk about right now, when Craig and I go out to bike night, we had a service shop. And we're new in this area, and we've got to get some business. We got to get people to come over here. And Facebook's not that easy to do that with. Social media is not that easy to do local promotions. Word of mouth is still king with that. So we had to get out there. Well, you pull into bike night with a couple guys with, my brother's bike was back in town. We had Dead 19 here. We had Wasted Wound. We had Titan Shallow. We'd ride out to bike nights on these bikes. And you pull in and you park, and you're just going to get inundated with people coming over to talk to you, right? And it's awesome. It's fun. It creates conversation piece. People want to look at the bike. They want to talk about it. They don't understand it, or they do understand it. What's really important, I think, and I've seen this mistake too many times with guys in this industry, if somebody comes up and say they come up to Wasted and Wounded, my titanium bike with the panhead motor, guy walks up and he looks at it and he goes, man, that's a cool shovel head motor or whatever. Maybe they don't know what they're looking at, and they mistakenly say that. I've seen builders just scoff at them. This is a fucking panhead, and walk away like they don't want to talk to them. They're so caught up with their own ego. Yeah. It's always been my approach to be like, oh no, man, that's actually a panhead. Let me show you how you can tell the difference, and be cordial, be educational. Just because the dude's on a 2017 Street Glide, and he comes over and he mislabeled your motor, you don't have to be a dick to him, The he's still riding a motorcycle. He's still a person.
And these guys, a lot of times, like what you brought up, me and Chris and Heather rode to a bike night. Same issue, Will. You pull up, and it's almost like you're landing an alien spaceship in the middle of the parking lot because it's all baggers. And we we have Twisted T-Chopper and something wicked, and we backed in, and people were like, holy crap, like walking over. So like you said, I think you lose a lot of people in the, translation of the chopper and the custom build to the factory, and they don't know enough about them. And
you lose a lot. You lose a lot when you have an ego.
Right.
That's a real problem I've seen with guys, unfortunately, guys in our genre, in our little genre. And the chopper world is small, man. It's a small genre of the hand-built, like grassroots, the cycle source style bikes that we build. And when you've got a big-ass chip on your shoulder. That's, if you're building show bikes, whatever. Be egotistical if you want to be. If you're trying to run a business, if you're trying to make money, if you want to make this your life,
whole different
if you want
world.
to pay your bills, I'm not talking about getting rich because you need to go do something else. But if you want to make money, you want to live this life and be part of this life, and you're about this life, you don't have to be a dick to people, and you don't have to be arrogant.
Hey, or you know what, man? Like here, let me say this, because this is something I say over and over again about, talking about outreach is easy, but actually doing the work. Even beyond the money part of it, if you want to see this shit actually translate into another generation,
Right.
you got to be that person. You know what I mean? It's not the same. Like, don't get me wrong. The way me and Mark grew up, you stopped and asked an old guy about his bike, your liable would get slapped in the face.
Yeah,
You're definitely going to get your balls busted. That was a
Right.
completely different time.
And
you know what I mean?
different time.
Different time altogether.
Yeah,
But
that plays back into like the helmet stuff we were talking about,
Yeah.
and everything's changing, and that's fine. I like a lot of the old school mentality. We believe in old school values, but we believe in new school fabrication techniques, right?
Almost
We believe in
Yeah.
forwarding our education, but utilizing old school values, and that's the integrity, that's the quality and the precision that we try to maintain in our work. So that's what we try to draw from the old timers and the old school.
Well, back in that day, when you built a bike, like you said, riding your, question, you hit a pothole, you hit a bad road, somebody hit you. You didn't have to worry about that back then. Half the time it was the bike that killed you. So, like you said, the technology of you coming up now and people like you and, a lot of builders coming back with their ability to look deeper into what they build is huge here, now. So that makes a big difference also.
Yeah. And I think you reap what you sow, and you manifest your own destiny. So if you are constantly putting out that super ego, because man, I'll tell you what, I've had myself, and I'm saying this from experience, because I've had my ego checked so many times in this industry. When you think you're killing it, when you think you are just the baddest fabricator out there and you're doing something no one can touch, you will go to a show or you will look on Instagram, you will see some kid doing something so sick
that
your head spins and you're like, how the fuck did he do that?
yeah.
And I see it all the time and I love it now. It used to beat my ass up. I'll tell you a great story was Michael Lichter's Naked Truth show.
Dude,
So
that show was ridiculous.
I built the titanium chassis chopper. I built two stainless steel frames for that show, one for Bill Dodge and one for Jeff Cochran, because I knew people were going to be running stainless steel frames. Everybody wanted to do raw stuff, so I built them some stainless steel frames. And I was like, hey, I'm going to step it up. I'm going to build a titanium chassis chopper, right? And I was obsessed with it anyway, dove into it, became completely obsessed with the material, put my head in the books, just killed it. And I built that bike, and I thought I was just going to blow everyone's fucking mind, right? I walked in that room, man, and I saw 30-something bikes, no color, all raw. And I walked around that room for, 2 hours, and I couldn't believe what I saw in that room. That was an experience I don't think I'll ever have again. And it was so humbling, and it was so enlightening at the same time. It was so good to just realize, wow, there's so much talent. You don't have to use some exotic material to kick everyone's ass. Yeah. You just have to build amazing motorcycles. And that room was nothing but amazing craftsmanship. So raw, nothing could be hidden. It was so exposed. It was so vulnerable. It was, a fully monochromatic room of motorcycles. It was so cool.
Michael has ability to make that happen.
Yeah, that's a show I don't think will ever be replicated. But that's an example of where your ego's not going to do anything good for you. Confidence is great. Ego's a fucking killer, man. And being cocky, it's not going to do anything good for you. And it plays into the business model. So when we go to bike nights, we're super gracious, super open, and really excited to educate people. And so education, now we can segue into this, education has been the backbone of growing this business for me. And it started with my relationship with Cycle Source, because I was given an opportunity to start teaching. And you find out really quick that the best way to learn something is to teach it, right? Because in order to teach something, you have to really know something. And I found out really quickly when I started exposing myself with tech articles in print that I had to really know what I was doing before I could talk about it, right? So I had to take my own education even farther than where I was doing the work to really do a really good job of disseminating information to other people. When we decided to expand and look for other avenues in this business, and I decided I wanted to do a service and performance shop, which I don't know shit about because I'm not a mechanic. I can do a top-end job on a shovel or a paint head. I can keep a motor running. I can set points. I can tune a carburetor. But there is no way that I can do the fuel injection crazy-ass shit that Corey does when he builds a bike from the bottom end, big-ass flywheels, stroker motors, tunes them, the combinations. That kid's just, he's brilliant. He's like a mad scientist. And what we talked about seeing a void, Chris, what I saw around here is something very similar I think people see with cars. When you have a problem with your car, when you take a car into a mechanic and you drop it off, you're kind of at the mercy of who's going to work on my car. And I have no idea who they are. I have no idea what kind of job they're going to do. And you get back in the car, like, I hope it's going to work, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That sucks. And the same thing happens with bikes, man. You go in some of these places and the bike goes in the back and it sits there for a damn month or two and you get it back from your service, or you go and you pay to get a stage 2 or stage 3 done on your Harley, and you're not really sure who's doing it and if they're really tuning it or not tuning it, or how they're tuning it, what are they using, and how good's the tuner, and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't want to get caught up in that whole, like, just want to turn and make money. I wanted to create a different system. So I looked for the right people, and I got lucky. You know, honestly, the service center started with Keikoa, and he kind of fell into my lap. You know, he just wanted to learn the fabrication side of things, but he turned out to be a great mechanic and a super knowledgeable guy. And he started it all.
Sorry.
All right. He started it all for me, and I came to a point, you know, I just wanted him to make some money and just fill some of this space, because I got into this building and it was so much more room than I was used to and what I needed, and I didn't really know what to do with it. But once I found Craig, you know, Craig had worked for Harley for 15 years, 9 dealerships across the country. Every dealership he went to, he made a ton of money for them. He always improved their systems, worked. He was so inundated in that life, but he was never really treated right, you know? And he never really had what he was looking for. And it's just, I don't know if it's just fate, luck, or what, that he ended up here. But once he was here, he started talking to Corey, and we recruited Corey and brought him up from Florida. So in a sense, I wasn't looking for employees. I was looking for family members for Faith Forgotten Choppers, and guys that we can expand, and then we're on the same page. And the key to this business, like I said, has been education and integrity. When a customer walks in here to get a service done, it's really easy to have somebody come in and sell them exhaust pipes that they want, and, you know, whatever hop-up kit that they read about or they heard about and they hear it's the best thing, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to take their money. It's something else to have them, to explain to them that's actually more than they need to spend, and it's the wrong combination of shit, and their bike's going to run like crap.
Yeah.
And it's not what they want. And to educate them and say, man, this is what you really, you do a lot better to do this, this, and this. And quite often it's less money. And that's the integrity. That's the education, is us trying to teach the customers when they come in, help them make the best decisions with their money, and maintain that transparency where they can come in, they can talk to Corey, they can come watch their bike on the dyno. They can come in the shop and see what's happening. They're welcome here. And we don't hold motorcycles here either. We schedule them so that we don't have room to hold motorcycles here. So their bikes are in and out. You know, everything happens as quick as possible.
You know, that thing that you said right there, I just want to break in for 1 second about taking the time to educate somebody about what they're doing. That was something before you came onto the magazine. We had our senior tech editor was Jim Libonetti from Megaflow, and Jim is still famous for the combinations he put together for his headwork and the power that he made. And Jim's biggest thing all the time was he preached this thing about telling people to build to their rideable range. You know what I mean? And that was the biggest thing all the time, was like, guys come in and I want the biggest of this, and I want, a dyno chart that's off the world. And he would stop them and he would go, look, where do you actually ride this motorcycle?
Yeah.
And you have to be honest with that, because if you're not honest with that and you build something that's going to be literally a strip racer,
you're wasting
and that's
your money.
not how you
Yeah,
ride, you're never going to be happy with that bike. It doesn't matter how good the person is, behind that methodology. If it's not built for where you're going to ride it, you're out of luck.
And on top of that fact,
and some guys really get caught up with those dyno numbers. So we've done a lot of videos and a lot of education on how manipulated those numbers are a lot of times, and how wrong those numbers are when people get like STD numbers instead of SAE numbers. Yeah. It's very common to see people dyno tuning using STD numbers because they're inflated. STD is not appropriate for normal tuning. That's for drag racers.
Yeah, and on top of that fact, you got to keep in mind that if you want this customer to come back and you sell them a bike they can't ride, you're never going to see that guy.
Well, it's a disservice for the whole industry too.
Yeah.
Not just your shop.
Yep.
That shit damages the credibility of what all of us do.
Yep. Yeah,
it does, and that leads to another point when dealerships have the name, so whatever work they do, good or bad, they still have that bar and shield on the front of their shop. So they're still going to get
clientele.
They're going to get the business. They're going to get the clientele. They're going to get the warranty work, right? If we start chasing dollars and do half-ass tunes, it won't be long before somebody's out there with a bike that doesn't run worth a shit. And, well, where'd you get that work done? Oh, Faith Forgotten Choppers. Yeah. Your name's mud real fast.
Reliability is a huge factor.
Integrity, your name, your reputation, it's huge when you're an aftermarket shop, when you're a small performance shop. And the same thing with fabrication and being a builder. Like, it's one thing to build a bike and win a bunch of shows, but if you start selling bikes to customers, those bikes better run, and they better run well.
Most important part,
right. And I learned that from Jeff Cochran.
Oh yeah.
There's few people out there that build as many reliable. I mean, Jeff builds bikes for guys to ride.
Yep.
His bikes can show with anybody out there. There's not a builder out there that Jeff can't put his bike right next to and hold his own. But there are few show-winning builders whose bikes can consistently ride with the reliability that a Speed King bike can ride with. And that's that's Jeff Cochran's business model is his integrity is in his motorcycle's dependability.
I think one of the last times that he was on, we were talking about exactly that, and he had mentioned somewhere through, and a guy had sent a message in that 10 years and he was still riding it and loved it just like the first day he owned it.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you're right. I mean, his cleanliness, his finished product, his every bit of it, his bikes flow so well. But again, they wouldn't be shit if they didn't ride and they didn't run.
And one of those things, knowing Jeff, I know it comes down first and foremost. Jeff doesn't want to deal with any bullshit.
No, not
you know
at
what
all.
I mean. So like, he's not.
And again, you're talking about a guy who's built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of motorcycles. I mean, if you've built a quarter,
thousands.
If you built a quarter of the bikes Jeff's built, you're just starting to get hot.
Yeah, I've not built an eighth. I've not built a fraction of what Jeff's built.
No, not at all.
But, and that's something for some of these new guys who are getting in the industry. Maybe they're doing really well, going to some shows. And, I remember.
Right now, Beverly's trying to find a way to get Jeff in the house with that big head. I hope you know right now. So she's
Jeff's not watching this. Jeff's not watching this.
You'd be surprised.
You'd be shocked.
The new guys who. Because I remember this very well when I got started. The shows were everything. I needed to go to the shows. I needed to do well. I needed to be seen. I needed to get my name known. I needed to get famous. There's something to be said for that, but it's a rude awakening if you're just winning shows or placing high, or just you're just a show builder.
Oh,
then you decide you want to make a living at this, and hey, I'm going to sell motorcycles to customers.
And then if you're pointing
to get into this, of the show. This is the best part.
Let me tell you, this is something people need to hear, and they need to listen to it if they really want to make a living doing this. Because I make a living doing this. I live and breathe this stuff, and this is what pays the bills. And my bills are substantial at this point with the overhead I have at this shop and my employees. And I know a little something about this. When you start building commission builds for a customer, there's a lot of stuff to consider, and I learned some of this the hard way. What happens if it's one thing to have trouble with your chopper that you built, right? It's another thing for shit to start breaking or breaking down or having problems for the guy that just spent $30, $40, $50,000 with you to build this one-off badass chopper because you are the man. If it doesn't have that, at the end of the day, these guys may be so excited when they get the bike and it looks amazing and so glad that it got all the attention that it's gotten, but that stuff is fleeting. Yeah. And what stays with them is the motorcycle,
right,
and the experience on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And if that thing is a fucking nightmare and you have a lot of engineering flaws because you don't have the experience yet to understand the leverages, the stress flow, the issues with everything, you can be a great fabricator, but if you don't understand engineering and design, you may build yourself into a situation. Next thing you know, you got lawsuits, man. Next thing you know, if somebody can afford a $40,000, $50,000 chopper, believe me, they can afford to sue your ass too.
Yeah, right.
Hey, and you know what, man? That's what I've always loved about builders like you and Jeff and Bill Dodge, and and one of the reasons, and I'll say this right here, one of the reasons why we started the In Motion show. You know what I mean? Like, you guys, even what you talked about, Will, your first motorcycle, you put that whole thing together and then you literally rode the hell out of it. There was no place that you went in this country that you weren't on that motorcycle.
And everything broke on it, Chris.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
And I learned a lot.
Right. And that's the only way you're going to learn about what you can do is to actually put the miles on it, man, and have that hands-on experience, And there's two sides of this whole thing because, Patrick Garvin, I don't know if you're still on, but Patrick did an article not too long ago in the magazine, and it was, bike shows are stupid, and this is why. I'm paraphrasing, but that's effectively the title of his rant, and it was a one man's opinion article. And when it first came out, everybody's like, "Oh, I can't believe Chris let him write that." And I'm like, "No, man, this is the conversation that's got to happen because." There's two sides of it. There's guys that are busting their ass in their garage at their house and they're bringing stuff out to Daytona and Sturgis and they're doing great stuff. Then there's almost, you almost want to call it something like bike show poachers. You know what I mean? That are like, they're looking to hurry up and grab some of those titles and run to the top. You know what I mean? And there's two sides of it for me. Like sometimes I feel like bike shows are stupid, to a degree for some of that stuff. I never, I want to add more classes all the time. It drives Heather crazy because I want to give those guys that are doing that stuff that are going to be spending this winter putting that bike together to come out to Daytona with. I want to make sure that guy gets recognition for what he does. But at the same time, what does that other stuff actually do for us? And we got into big conversation about this when we started talking about the AMD World Show, and especially last year with Jeremy taking an 8th place, or Jordan Dickerson taking 8th place in the World Show. Was
one of the most beautiful motorcycles.
Ridiculous, right?
One of the best bikes I've ever seen. Yep. Absolutely. By one of the best fabricators I know too.
Yeah,
like Jordan's on a whole nother level. He's an amazing person. Amazing. He approaches things.
You had said something earlier here about coming in for the fame and the whole 9 yards, and that's the funny part about it. How many people have actually come here and built a bike and thought they were going to get famous and found out that the little guy. There's so many little guys out there that come from a garage behind their house that knock it out of the freaking park.
Right. Right, and at the end of the day, winning or losing is more of a subjective thing. And if you can so I've never won anything. The only thing award I ever got was a Cycle Source award in Artistry and Iron. For the most part, I've never won a damn show. But I've gone to shows, and while the winner may have been collecting a $10,000 check, I was closing a $40,000 build with a customer because I go to the show to promote myself. I go to the show to show my work. I'm not there to win. Sure, I'd love to win. Sure, I'm going to bring my best. I'm going to do my best, but I'm not going to step outside the realm of what I do, right? You know, In Motion is my favorite show out there right now, and I couldn't make it to In Motion last year in time to qualify. I could have made it. We could have cut some corners at the end, and we could have showed up and done well. But we needed to finish that bike for the customer properly, and we stuck to our guns, and we did it right, and we didn't make the deadline. We showed up down in Motion last year in 2008, late, missed the ride. We still got to show the bike. We still got the, you know, the publicity and the acknowledgement for finishing a motorcycle, all the social media that surrounds it. we had a good time. Was that the year that Mark? Yeah, this year Mark and Jeff broke down, and we had to bring them gas. That was a great story.
Luckily, you were just driving by.
In the middle of nowhere.
Hey, we were getting ready to start shooting a gun, then you guys drove by.
But, you know, if you're going into all the shows thinking first place is going to make or break your business, you're out of your mind. Because in a year or two, nobody's going to fucking remember, right? Winning first place at a show doesn't make or break your business. No. The way you carry yourself, the way you interact with people, what you put into it is what you're going to get back.
Yeah, the plaque looks great on the garage wall.
The trophy's going to sit on the shelf in your showroom and collect dust.
It's not going to create money.
Right? And the money you win at the show, I mean, if that's going to make or break you, you've already got a problem right there because you probably put a hell of a lot more money into that than the motorcycle. Right?
Patterson just came on. You mean you're not going to build a non-rideable show pony?
You know, and fuck, all Pat's bikes, those guys ride the shit out of their bikes. Fuck, when I met Mark, he was on one of their custom bikes, pulled out and wrecked the damn thing. Broke his ankle, and he and I spent the whole weekend together. Yeah, in Daytona.
That's
when I met Mark.
Somebody
They're all pulling out like a group, just hammering on those bikes. And I remember that, man. I remember first coming around and watching the lead sled crew come out in force, kick all those bikes, and ride out like a fucking mafia.
Yeah, we used to have some fun.
Hard.
Well, that's like even the bikes that Chris and Mark have built of late. They ride the hell out of them. Yeah, Something Wicked, the T-Chopper, and I ride with them. I mean, when we rode the Blue Ridge Parkway, you couldn't possibly go any faster on a 9-foot chopper than we did.
Not with your old lady on the back taking pictures.
You guys made the mistake of leaving one of those long choppers here.
Yeah.
Hey, Cole and I rode the shit out of it. I just kept smiling too. We kept switching off. You ride, I'll ride. You ride.
That was so great. I remember coming back and you guys smiling, and I was like, "What's going on?" They were like, "Dude,
Magoo just posted.
I never thought those would be so fun."
The Jinxed KK bike. Oh, that poor motorcycle was beat to death.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it. And that's where me and Will had originally met. I was pulling into a gas station with Kevin Kepi, and some guy zipping through the gas station T-boned me and chopped the heel of my foot off. And me and Will sat in a trailer together the whole weekend, like never and we just met. That was the first that we met the night before, and pretty much
chopped the heel of your foot off.
Yeah. It was great.
Are you adding to that a little bit?
No, like literally. I mean, do you want to see the scar again?
Brian said he had the Speedo when we were on the Blue Ridge, and he was behind us, and it was at 70.
It was so good. It was so good. And Heather and I, like, we've become so used to riding long bikes and riding like that. I mean, like, the place I live in Pennsylvania is about 20 minutes north of Pittsburgh, and anytime that we're going to ride, we go north from here. Yeah. So it's all mountain roads, man. Yeah. And I mean, the reason why we build the bikes the way that we do is because we're going to ride them, especially like there is nothing better than a Pennsylvania fall night with a hot shovel.
Yep.
Nothing better than that. Right. Nothing better than that.
So it's funny. We're all laughing and giggling right now about this. This is what we constantly, when we're working 80-hour weeks, when we're stressed about bills, when everything's coming down, we will stop in here. And the three of us, prior to me falling off my bike this year, I would stop and say, you know what, fuck it, like shut down for a minute, let's go ride. And we would just pull the bikes out and just go ride. Because at the end of the day, that's why I started doing that, and that's what this is about, is wanting to live this life. And I keep having to remind myself and remind my guys that it's work, but it's the life we're choosing to live. Right. And it's being about this life that's so important to us. And it's that freedom of not having to work for, I have 2 employees, but they're my brothers. Like, I would do anything for them. And it's seldom a day where I feel, I mean, half the time Craig's telling me what to do, right? He's running the show and he's telling me what I need to get done and what I need to do. And
good thing.
Yeah. Sometimes that's very important with me. But that's the family environment. That's what I wanted to create with this. Was I wanted a shop. I wanted a large facility. I wanted to have the equipment that I fell in love with, the stuff that I wanted here, because I wanted to have my hands on everything and I didn't want to depend on anyone else. I wanted start to finish everything to be done here. And I wanted to just maintain that integrity, maintain that level of precision and craftsmanship, and then take education to the next level. But having that constant reminder that this is our life and this is the way we want to live, and that freedom, because it always comes back to freedom for us. Like, we have the freedom to just go do what we want to do, man. Yeah, I have work schedules. Yes, I have deadlines. Yes, I have customers. But at the end of the day, there's nobody telling me what to do, really. Like, I mean, Craig tells me what to do in the shop, but at the end of the day, we don't have to worry about, the boss man and the big job and the 9 to 5. Even though we work a lot more than 9 to 5, we get to get on the bikes and just go ride. And sometimes we just need that. And it's amazing what a 20-minute ride down the river and back will do for the morale of the shop, and that's become an important part of me running the place. Is just say, hey, let's go to lunch. I'm buying. Grab a chopper. Let's go, let's go have fun.
That's why we do this. Hey, listen, man, I want to take 2 seconds here and remind you guys we're coming to you live from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio. Every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do this thing called Shop Talk. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. We're going to take about 2 seconds here and look at some cool stuff from around the industry. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more with Will from Faith Forgotten Choppers. We're actually going to take some phone calls, let you guys talk to Will when we get back. So stick around. We'll be right back with Shop Talk.
I was kind of an aggressive, angry person for a long time. My wife has solved that problem. She's made me realize that I'm pretty lucky to have what I have, so she's taken all that out of me. I'm pretty grateful to what we have, what I get to do. She has given me a lot of the character that I have. Taught me how to be humble and fair and nice. A lot of times you forget that. You just get caught up in everything else that's going around you. You don't realize that, just slow down and take it in a second, relax. The day I die will be, I'll be standing at a lathe or with a welding helmet on, but I'm sure this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. I hope it lasts forever, because I'll do it forever.
It's Missy, and I'm coming to you live from Chopper Fest. Of everything that's been going on here today at Chopper Fest, and they're getting ready to do awards. So stay tuned for an upcoming recap in Cycle Source magazine. Y'all have a great night, and I'm out of here.
That's great, man. So yeah, that was Missy live from the street side reporting on Chopper Fest, and man, I feel so bad for that. California got pounded with rain.
Super covert meetings over at the dealership.
What?
Are we on?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Craig over here talking to me.
Covert ops going on up in that.
That clip you played at the beginning of that commercial.
Dude, and
Jeff
that,
just
listen,
gave me goosebumps.
that's the greatest thing. So, number of months ago, we got onto the Chopper Town network, and we so appreciative of them and everybody that follows Chopper Town. But they do so much more. Like, you know, they're known for the movie, they're known for all the stuff they carry through Facebook. But that bike and builder series that they do, and they do some what was the Flake and Flames. They have another show. Like, they're doing so much cool programming over there. Obviously, they carry Charlie Brechtel's show. They carry Gina Wood's show. Like, it's a lot of great stuff. So if you haven't been following Chopper Town, make sure you go over their Facebook page, give them a like and follow, and make sure you're hip to when they come out with some more of this program.
Well, very important
anybody
question.
who does a biker build off or biker build anything, and it's not a bunch of fake ass drama, and they're doing it successfully, that's awesome and should be commended, because this industry has been, it was made famous with the bullshit fake TV drama crap, right? Which is not even easy to stomach. But you know, that the stuff they did with that Mama Tried show, that film was amazing. Everything I've seen from them has been amazing. Those guys should be commended for their influence on the industry.
What'd you have over there, Blondie?
Everybody wants to know where Will got his hat. It's very important.
You selling those at Faith for
everybody's
God?
asking.
No, a company called Troll Clothing. I love these guys. I've got a bunch of shirts from them. I've got hats. It's
troll is in the thing that lives under the bridge.
Yeah, well, so they were trying to take the whole concept troll. It's funny. It's on their webpage. I remember reading this. The whole troll word has become a bad word with social media. Like, oh, you're a troll.
Oh yeah.
Well, these guys were all like pipeline welders and construction guys and heavy equipment welders. At the end of the day, they'd go out and get, you know, Miller High Life, drinking together, and after a hard day of straight blue collar work, they're dirty as shit, covered in dirt, whatever. They look like fucking trolls, and they used to call themselves trolls. And then that came out, and so they were trying to take the name back. And this troll clothing company, I think it's called. I love their mission statement. I love what they're doing. I certainly love their apparel just because it is like, you know, support blue collar.
Oh,
Dude.
I found it.
Dude, Ryan Gore in the house says there's fake drama on Chopper TV shows?
Stop,
Question
Ryan.
mark.
Don't even bring that up.
All right, so this is
We'll stay away from that subject tonight. I'll end up with a lot of people hating me.
This is where we're going to let things get wild for a minute. So here it is. Write it down. This is the call-in number, 412-204-7432. If you want to talk to us or Will live, you want to ask Will some questions, bitch about the rain in California, whatever it is. We're going to take a few callers. We don't always do this. We usually try to get maybe once every other month we'll do a show with call-in. So there is the number for you would-be callers, 412-204-7432. Remember, if you're listening to this as a podcast, we're not going to be there when you answer the phone. So
Give it your best shot, though.
just wanted to mention that. Back to you, Will.
You know, anybody who's listening to this that may not be familiar with us or may not follow our work, we're starting to do a lot of videos and a lot of exposure of the shop right now. We're compiling an email list, so if anybody wants to jump on, this is a little shameless plug. If anybody wants to jump on our website and sign up on the email list, we are currently filming a shop tour video where we're going to come in the shop, show you guys around all the equipment, everything from the CNC to the welding fabrication area to the dyno room that we bought and built for Corey to tune motorcycles, and the whole service bays, the retail room, everything. So you can kind of see how we laid it out. We don't have a lot of room, and we've really had to be judicious about how we set things up. But it'll be cool. And the email list will be cool. We're only going to be doing like one email a week, and it'll be education based. We're going to be trying to put out some information on fabrication, performance tips, everything like that. So
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. I mean, it's for a long time now. You've been a really, really valuable part of Cycle Source with the stuff that you do, and I can't wait to see what you guys bring with the videos and the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's going to be a blast. Because you, with your knowledge, coupled with Craig and his jocularity, is that the right way
I like
to say
that word?
Jocularity?
I just call him a fucking smartass all the time.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, boy. Right on, man. Well, look, so we're doing the whole call-in thing tonight because
Nobody wants to talk to you.
You guys ask us from time to time, and we want to make this more than a social media show. So one more time, I'm going to give you a chance. There's the number, 412-204-7432, or we're going to pull this one into the station. So get busy. So where
right,
can
I'm gonna call in.
Where can people see? Where can people see Will?
Where can you see Will?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh boy,
We have a caller.
I think that might be Drew Woodford.
No, it's
Call
actually
from
not.
Richard Petoniak. To
Uh-oh.
accept, press 1. To send a...
Rich, you're live on Shop Talk. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Chris. Hey, Will, Heather, Mark. How are you guys?
how are you, Rich?
Hey, Rich.
Good, man. What do you got on your brain tonight?
Nothing. Just listening to Shop Talk like every week. You know, I love this show. It's great.
Right on. You're supposed to say,
This is a great-
long-time
this is a great-
listener,
this is a
first-time
great show.
caller.
Yeah, this is a great show with Will. I really enjoy listening to this interview with Will. It's great. I've been following Will for many years, and he builds some beautiful, crazy bikes, and very talented guy you are, Will.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Well, I figured there'd be
Well, I wanted
guys like you out there that would appreciate this side of it too, the transition of business and how things are changing. So I'm glad to hear you dig the premise.
Yeah, that's why I actually want to talk, because, you know, I had my own shop for 10 years full time. Been a machinist all my life, and I used to work for an aftermarket performance shop in my area, running a dyno and building a lot of motors for years and stuff like that, and some bikes. But just listening to what Will was talking about all the fabricators out there, and seeing some of these talented guys, like you said, you think you build a really nice bike, and then you go to a show like the In-Motion show, and some of the guys there, it's like, oh my God, these guys are just killing it. Crazy, insane builders out there. And it's humbling to be around people like Will or Jeff Cochran or a lot of these other guys that I had just met also. And this is I just wanted to call in and talk about that a little bit, you know. And it's a very hard industry to make a living in as a small little independent shop, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Will's got a lot. Yeah, no, Will had a lot of he's got a lot of good insight on what he's doing, and I've been enjoying seeing what you've been doing last year too, expanding your shop, especially with the machine shop, and, you know, making more for parts instead of just building, say, customs, you know, more like getting involved in the industry of making all kinds of custom parts that you've been doing.
I appreciate that, man. We hit my head this year, gave me a chance to step back and redesign a lot of the parts on my frames too, and offer you know, aftermarket frames built to order with I just feel like I kind of just try to take it to a whole nother level. There's not a piece of metal on one of my frames now that's not fully machined. Everything's decked. Everything has a radius. There's not a sharp edge. Nothing is laser water jet cut. Everything is 100% machined. Every surface is touched, and it's just that little bit extra that for some guys is worth it. You know, for some guys it's not, and that's why the price point is where it is, because I'm not interested in competing with the production aftermarket frames that are coming out quickly. Mine are built to order, and it's a limitless situation as far as the geometry goes, and I'll work with people to develop what they want. I'll help educate them and steer them in the right way. They could send me a drawing or a concept. Is that me beeping?
No, that's me. Hey, listen, Rich, thanks for calling in. We're going to go to our next caller here real quick.
Call from, okay. I've sent the caller to voicemail. Goodbye.
Maybe not.
I think that was Drew Woodford trying to call in.
Drew, call back if you want to try that again. Poor Rich. We cut him off. And then I cut you off. Oh, I'm rude as hell.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm excited about this caller thing.
It'd be fun if people call. We'll have fun talking.
Yeah.
I like answering questions. I mean,
Wait,
my phone
there's a
rings here all the
caller.
time.
Call from.
Let's try this.
What's up? You're live on Shop Talk.
Hi, Chris. This is Ashley Woodford.
Ashley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. So now I can say Bonneville record holding, Buell Sisters racer.
Yeah, you can now. Yeah, you are correct.
Right on. So Ashley and Drew run the Buell Sisters and Buell Brothers Racing, handed down from Santa. Well, not handed down, rightfully earned from Santa Claus. Good to have you guys here. You have a question for Will?
Well, kind of actually more for you and Heather and everybody else out there.
Okay.
So when it comes to you guys being at different things, which is awesome, we see you at all sorts of stuff. But there's also a really awesome one to go to, which is Arizona Bike Week.
We're trying to get to Arizona. Actually, we're actually in some talks about that. Stay tuned.
And our next door neighbor's house is for sale too, by the way.
Everybody's trying to get us to move to the Southwest, man, which is awesome for Heather.
Because we saw Missy last year, which is great. And actually I just saw her, 2 weeks ago. Her and I went out riding and stuff like that. So, and she actually invited me to go to the chopper show in California, but couldn't go.
No, it sounds like she's riding back in a boat.
Yeah. It was a rain. Well, not a rain out, but it rained pretty good today.
It rained bad.
Yeah, we've had pretty red gnarly storms here, but like I said, like it'd be awesome if you guys could make it. Like Pirewitz are always here to see Jody. Plus, there's some flat tracking.
Jade comes.
Jay's here. I'm racing. You can come watch, not hit a wall.
We're actually talking about trying to put together a chopper show there this year. We've had a couple talks with Paul, and we're going to try and do something out there maybe.
Paul said
that'd be cool.
Paul said that it was a go. I'm just saying. Paul said you're in. But I think we have to ask Susie.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, if you guys get it going, let us know and we'll spread the word in Arizona for you.
Absolutely.
So good to hear from you guys. How were your holidays? Your holidays
It was good.
so far?
It was good. Well, Drew went to Wisconsin and hung out with the family and Santa. Went and saw him.
Santa says hi.
Tell him to hell with that high. Tell him to hell with that high. Send cheese.
Said hi to Heather, not Chris. That's funny.
I love Santa.
Hey, real quick shout out since we're talking about Santa anyway. Drew Gatewood is out there, and the Blackhawks got stomped by the Coyotes. Actually, they lost in a shootout tonight, so he owes Ashley and I dinner now.
Yeah, buddy. Listen, I'll pay for the dinner though. Just send me the bill. I'll pay for it.
Hey, you're gonna be there.
Just remember, that's 691.
You're gonna get dinner, right?
2003 Ultra that's coming back to Bonneville this year. I'll pay for that dinner.
Well, I'll hold you a spot in the pit.
Right on. Yeah, we want to be right with you guys again. I'm just so pissed that we didn't make it this year.
And as long as you bring both of the nuggets, the four-legged.
Nugget and Smalls now.
Uh-huh.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you guys for calling in. It's great hearing from you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Hey, real glad to see that Will's doing a lot better. We've been, obviously heard about the accident this spring and thinking of praying about him. So
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Right on.
All right. Well, we have a question from Facebook from Todd
Thanks,
Ingram.
Guys.
Sorry, I stepped on you. Todd Ingram says, first off, huge Faith Forgotten fan. Would like you to speak a little on the process of commission and build a custom motorcycle.
That's an awesome question, and we definitely need to get that. Do you want to get the phone call?
Yeah, let me get the phone call real quick.
Steve Broyles.
Oh my goodness. Poppy, what's up? You're live on Shop Talk, baby.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Nice to hear from you. And nice to see a great program going. Hello, Will. How are you?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to see that you're getting better. Life is treating you well.
Yes,
know,
sir.
as we move through some of this, you know what, I just wanted to comment that we are all teachers, you know, and to be able to spread the information that we have and we learn throughout this industry is going to create more people wanting to be in this industry.
Absolutely.
Why don't you?
know,
This strikes me as a great opportunity because we just got a question about commission and building custom bikes. This is a good thing for the two of you to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
As far as answering your question,
yeah.
So when I started,
you know what? By the
commission
time,
builds.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how that's going to work, but by the time you get done building a commission build, I personally think that a lot of times it becomes a more of a thing by your heart, you know, as you're building the bike, because in reality, even though you bill it by the hour sometimes, and you try to figure that basis out, a lot of times by the time it's said and done, a lot of times you look back and you go, wow, I made like $10 an hour.
Right. That's the hard part.
Yeah, truth or not, you know.
And that's one of the good builds.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing. Like people say, you have hard time charging for all of your time. It's almost impossible. The bike could be $1 million.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so really, when you're building a bike, and I've always done this, and lately we've been doing what I call a lot of redos. Okay, which is a fantastic thing. I've built bikes back in the early days, and I've had them. People are bringing them back, you know, and going, "Can we redo this?" I'm going, "Sure."
Right.
You know, you know, and it works great. And I think a lot of times you stop and you look at it, and you know, everything that you've done back then, and all the knowledge that we have learned, just like you were saying, Will, as you were moving forward with your shop and integrating the different things that you used to do and that you're doing now, it's an amazing thing, like machining all your parts, making sure that there's no sharp edges. You know, I'm listening, you know, that's very important. You know, a lot of things that happen, but as we learn, as we go along, we look at things that we did back, you know, that I did back in the 70s, and I look at that and go, well, I'm not going to do it like that again. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's entirely a new learning process. We've moved forward, you know.
Yeah,
things have been so much better.
Yeah, the technology has changed so much.
And you just can't get mushrooms that pure anymore.
You're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah. Well, they told me they were good.
All right, Poppy. Listen, baby, thank you for calling us. It's great to hear your voice, as always.
Yeah, the thing that reminded me of the two of you that were there so much when I'm watching here and when I'm listening is the dollar bill, Chris.
Yeah.
Yep. and what is that? $10 is 1 inch.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
$10.
Exactly.
$10 is 1 inch.
$10 is an inch.
Very,
you know? Yeah, that's
very good information right there.
This was how you learned how to read a micrometer, right?
Yes,
Chris?
it was.
Yeah, I remember this story.
Yep.
Because I called Will immediately and I said, Will, I got it. I figured all of it out now. $10 is 1 inch. And he goes, what in the hell are you talking about?
I had to bring it up because it is humorous. I love you guys. Have a great day.
Love you too, baby. Later on.
Steve.
Thanks, man.
All right, so let's get back to
I saw another good question there. Where was it?
Todd Ingram's question.
Teaching the mic too.
On commissioning a build.
Yeah. So talk a little on the process to commission and build a custom bike.
If I'm not sure if he's asking about how I price that or how I go about acquiring the commission, but we can kind of talk on both. Pricing has been something that I had to evolve, as with everything. You know, at first you're just shooting from the hip. You're trying to figure out roughly what everyone else is getting, and you're just throwing a ballpark number out there, right? You're like, oh, well, I'll get 28 grand for this build or whatever. And then you do the build and you realize you lost your ass. But what I found in the last year, 2 years really, was that I had to find more ways to put value on the motorcycle than the dollars I was receiving from the customer. And what I mean by that is that build has to be able to generate me more money than what the customer's paying me. And so builds, if you look at a build, if you simply build for the customer and just get the bike out the door, that works for some people's business plans. It doesn't work for mine because I end up putting way too much time into each part. And again, like Steve said, you end up working for like $10 an hour or less. But this is where social media and the internet and photography and things like that can become so valuable to you, because if you utilize a new commission build as a staging point for developing, say, a new part that you want to then possibly take to market, you can photograph that. You can use that on social media. Obviously, there's a show scene, but going to shows, again, it's great if you have the right attitude to go out there and drum up business with that motorcycle. But the photography can become invaluable, and getting really good sharp pictures and learning something about photography. And this became a hobby of mine that has become a very valuable part of my business. People ask all the time, man, who's taking all your pictures on my social media? I take and I edit all those pictures myself. This came from riding in a car for 5 years with Jeff Cochran, who, before he was building bikes, dude was a professional photographer. He's sick with a camera. If anyone doesn't know that. And I learned a ton from him about this. And so I dove into that world a little bit on the side and found that it became a very valuable tool for me in marketing, a very valuable tool for me in getting more, extracting more from a commission build than what I was getting paid by the customer. And utilizing those, I mean, I have a computer full of pictures. A lot of the stuff you guys see me post every day, I'm not doing that right then when I shot that shit. I mean, look at the pictures. Sometimes I have a beard, sometimes I don't. Like, those are pictures that either they're recycled or the pictures that just never came out of the computer, because I have these pictures and then they get processed and I edit them down. But I literally set up, an entire studio right here in my shop, and I'll shoot parts, I'll shoot a frame, I'll shoot the build, and that's so as far as pricing, it's evolved, because I definitely started low, because when you're newer, you're just not going to come out the gate getting $50,000 for a custom build. Yeah. If you think you are, sorry, you need just because you won a few shows or got your name in a magazine, like you're going to get yourself in trouble going out there trying to get that kind of money for a bike before you know all the ins and outs of the bike, the engineering, keeping it on the road, making sure that bike, because those guys are going to come back at you if that bike's not okay. But the price has increased over time, but I found other ways to make money with the builds. And that's why I said I made the best money off the bikes that I built myself for myself, and nobody paid anything. That came out of my pocket. But the return on the investment was so good because of what it did for the service side of the business and for the fabrication side of the business, parts, frames, springers, the opportunity to always be on a motorcycle and be seen and talk to people can be invaluable.
You did bring up a really good point that, taking the time to build these bikes, and sure, it breaks all the way down to when you're all over, you make $3.50 an hour. But you being a fab shop, being, offering a parts line, offering frames, comes out awesome for you, because you have the ability to showcase some of the parts that you're now going to start selling, some of the parts that, they're going to now be offered to the public. Instead of taking the time to, the multiple hats that you have to wear all day long while you're at that shop, talking to the people. Like, somebody had asked a question, are you going to be teaching in the shop? If somebody wanted to stop in there. Right. Like, just those little tiny things. You have so many things to offer from that one build, taking those parts and photographing them and putting them out there on social media, and, the ability to bring them to a bike show and show that part in a show. So, I mean, you are wearing multiple hats, being that one guy in the shop, Yeah. So it makes a big difference being able to have all those different abilities.
Yeah, and you do end up wearing a lot of hats. And like I said at the beginning, it becomes, some of the hats don't correlate very well, because wanting to be a craftsman and wanting to be a successful businessman can sometimes be very difficult to balance. But if his question pertained more to how do I go about obtaining commissions, that had a whole lot more to do with putting myself out there and being really honest and share. I have found, and this is interesting because when I started, Chris and I had this conversation 6 or 7 years ago when I started writing with the magazine. I was very concerned about writing these tech articles and coming across the wrong way and being labeled as, like a know-it-all or something, or just rubbing people the wrong way. I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to piss anybody off. But simply educating customers, educating people, and constantly trying to give is a lot of how I ended up landing some of my commissions. Even so, there's a great example. Here's a great example. I was in Sturgis. One of my favorite stories. I was in Sturgis, and I'd gone outside in the evening. Jeff and I were staying at the Deadwood Casino Hotel up in Deadwood, up on the hill. And we had a trailer, and we had the bikes in the trailer at night, and then we'd take them out in the morning and clean them up a little bit, and we'd ride all over the place. Well, I'd gone outside to get something from the truck or something. I was just walking outside. It was sunset, and I'm walking back in, and there was a couple outside their room, and they started asking choppers, and so we started talking, and they were interested in purchasing a chopper. The husband wanted a chopper. So I didn't sell them anything. They were in a situation where they were looking at a couple pre-built choppers that were like shovel heads with an aftermarket frame. Then they were cone shovel heads with an aftermarket frame. So I quickly started to educate them on the titling issues with that. Because if it's titled as a Harley Davidson and it's a 1970 or later shovel head motor and it's a Harley title, but it's an aftermarket frame, then that's not a legal motorcycle. It needs to be a special construction bike. The title stays with the motor pre-70. It stays with the frame after 1970 and later. So I just simply sat and talked to them about titling laws. And this developed into them calling me and discussing. They called me in my shop maybe a month later and asked me about a build. And I quoted it. And it was above what they were interested in paying at the time. And we talked and I thanked them, and they ended up making another purchase that they weren't happy with. And it was a scary build. It was a chopper someone else had built, sold it to them cheap, and it scared the hell out of them. It almost fell apart on them and killed them. So they ended up calling me up and saying, hey, I want you to build me a bike. And it's one of my favorite builds, and he rides the hell out of that motorcycle. He lives out in Colorado. Love him to death. He and his wife are amazing. I delivered that bike to them personally in Colorado. But that's, a great scenario of just being honest and not trying to sell somebody something and in turn you get a sale just from sharing knowledge and giving to receive,
Your profit over your customer's happiness. That doesn't bring customers back.
Yeah.
So, Will, we have a question from Nathaniel Neflin. He wants to know if you have a trademark on the bikes you build, meaning if a person sees one of your bikes, do they know it's a Faith Forgotten bike?
No, I don't usually put many markings on them. Some of them have the logo painted on the fender, but greatest.
I think I can say that you definitely have a signature style.
Oh, you
though.
do, yeah.
Well, I was going to say one of the best compliments I ever got in this industry was at Michael Lichter's Naked Truth show. I was outside, and Bill Dodge came up to me and gave me a big hug, and he said, "Hey, brother, I just want to tell you, when I walked through that room, I looked up and I saw your bike," and he hadn't seen it. He hadn't seen any pictures of it, I guess, because at the time, Bill didn't even go on social media until like just a couple of years ago. Yeah. So he hadn't even seen it. He literally just looked at it and he said, I looked at that and I just knew that's Will's bike. That's a Faith Forgotten Chopper's bike. And he gave me a hug. He goes, you've developed your own style, brother. And that was one of the best compliments I ever got from somebody that I looked up to in the industry, So no, I don't generally mark my bikes per se. But if people recognize the style or the way I build, that's a huge compliment, because, I have a feeling I go for it when I build a bike. I think, like Chris, you and I had this discussion. I think that you found your style with this last bike. Like,
oh, dude, and that was the coolest thing ever. That was the coolest thing ever when you said that.
But you can see it when you look at your bikes. You were finding that, you were developing it, and if you line them up and look at them in a row, because I did the same thing. I've taken my bikes and lined them up and looked at them in a row in pictures, and you can see that evolution of, it's a fine line between copying and inspiration when you're developing yourself as a designer. Now, not necessarily a craftsman. We're talking about being a designer now, which is a whole nother talent that some people don't always take the time to learn. And as much as I preach craftsmanship and precision and stuff, if you want to find the ability to develop your own style, you have to start thinking about design. You have to start thinking about, you have to start studying design. For me, I had to study design. I had to read books on design. I had to read the history of design, what happened with everything from furniture to streamlined cars and just the way everything evolved. And then, of course, looking at my favorite builders coming up, right? So you look at all your favorite builders and you take a little bit from this guy and you take a little bit from this guy and you take a little bit. And you got to be careful not to just rip them off all to hell. But essentially that's what you're doing, is you're grabbing and you're taking, because you just don't know. And you throw it all together and you mix it in a pot. And one of two things are going to happen. It's either going to come out looking like you threw Billy Lane, Indian Larry, Jeff Cochran, and Jesse James all together in pieces, or you're going to take what you were seeing from them and stir it. It's going to come out as something that doesn't really look like any of them, but has a certain feel that maybe you can see the influences. And that's really developing your style. When you can look at somebody's influence and you can look at somebody's work and you can say, wow, that's amazing, and I love that, and I want to incorporate that into my work a little bit, and I'm not good enough to do it on my own yet. I'm gonna kind of copy this, but I'm gonna try to make it my own. If you can do that without, flattery is the best form of, or imitation is the best form of flattery. And I've had people send me pictures of somebody's bike like, oh, look, this dude's ripping off your shit. No, I'll never think that, and I'll never accuse that. If some guy in his garage built something and he took something off of one of my bikes and inspired him to do something, that's awesome. To me, that made my fucking day. I'm happy, and hopefully they take it a step further and eventually develop their own style. But maybe they're just building their own bike, right? And they just really like the way my handlebars look or something, or the way my gas tanks or sissy bars. I don't know. I don't know what they would take, but or the way I strut a lot of my frames in the back, which is absolutely not my original idea. I've seen a dozen guys do that. Paul Cox does that on almost all his bikes too. He does the X, which I think is cool as hell. But it's just kind of a race-inspired aspect of the motorcycle. With the titanium bike, it was actually structurally done to create more geometric strength in the triangle, because the material is so ductile and wants to flex so much. You have to triangulate the hell out of the frame to make it work. But I think developing your own style is super important. So there's nothing marked or trademarked or
All right.
Hey,
so
hang on 1 second. So a minute ago you mentioned Bill Dodge, and I'm going to ask everybody just for a moment of silence real quick right now.
For buddy.
Bill, that's one for you, baby. We love you. Sorry you're going through this, and rest in peace, buddy.
That's it. Love Buddy. Spent a lot of good time with that dog.
Yep.
That was Bill's boss.
I have a couple comments and a couple questions from Facebook, if I can.
Yep.
Real quick comment from Todd Ingram. Thanks for the info and both perspectives. I'm up in Minnesota, but I'll ride down and see you in the shop in 2020. Wish I found you guys sooner. Keep up the amazing work. It's been great to watch you evolve and expand. You guys are true craftsmen with integrity. Aaron West, I agree. I'm making the 12-hour ride out there in 2020 as well. Steve Royals, you do have your own style, Will. Xavier Muriel, he's the reason I started welding. Ask him about what the one means.
So I've taught a lot of people how to weld, right? I'm currently teaching. Corey just started his welding apprenticeship with me, which it's taken a long time to get him over here because he's been so busy. So if anybody doesn't know, Corey is my lead technician. He's my man. He is a brilliant motor builder and an insanely brilliant tuner. And I've learned more from him in the last year than I can even process sometimes when it comes to tuning a motorcycle. And that's a whole nother subject, but he is brilliant. He's awesome. He's crazy. He's wily. He's like this little rabid dog sometimes in the shop. It's awesome. But he just started welding with me, which he's been excited to do. And generally, I start off just letting somebody burn some steel, burn some wire, like, let's just have fun, let's do it. But then we're going to go to the grease board. We're going to go to the chalkboard. I'm going to make you sit down and we're going to talk about metal from all the way from the atom. This is the way I was taught. This is the way I teach it. We're going to talk about the whole metallurgy. When I'm done, you're going to think about welding the way I think about welding. So when, what was the point of this question?
We were asking you about the one.
What's the one mean?
Oh, this is Xavier.
Yeah.
So when Xavier was here, I gave him a little TIG welding lesson. One of the most difficult things, just technique-wise, not theory, not metallurgy, nothing. One of the most difficult things about welding is learning to separate your hands and then obviously use your foot. Xavier is a professional drummer. He is very skilled at separating his hands and his feet. I have never seen anybody pick up the basic technique of TIG welding so fast as Xavier. I literally started just like tapping my finger, telling him to think about a beat, and I was just like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Gave him like a time. He just started fucking welding. Like, it was nothing for him to control his foot. He was literally manually pulsing and TIG welding, and it was, it's always like a battle. People always want to push the tungsten into the puddle when they're dipping. You see it all the time. It's just learning that coordination. Well, I never even thought about it. And here he's doing this. I'm like, you're fucking with me, dude. You've been welding for a long time, right? He's, no, I'm just learning. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is not an easy thing. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, of course you can do this. Like, that's kind of where all that. Yeah, and where's the one? That's another inside joke too, of just like
you missed the one.
Drummers that can't find the one.
You missed the one.
That became our secret talk when we were walking around looking at motorcycles.
Yep.
You see a motorcycle that looks really good, and he did a really good job, but it's like, where's the one?
One, like 2, 3, 4, 9.
The rear fender is like super crooked or something. And you're just like,
12.
This shit, like, oh, you missed the one, dude. Like, that was a way of kind of like saying something negative without being a dick around anybody.
Well, Drew Woodford says reading your tech articles makes him want to be a better builder.
That's awesome, man.
Kurt Green, going back to how when you like take pieces and parts of others that inspire you, he says it's just like music. There are no new notes, but it's all in how you arrange them.
Right. Right.
Right on, man.
I agree with that 100%.
Well, listen, this has been some great conversation tonight, but we're coming up to the hour, so I want to take this opportunity to tell you thank you from all of us for being here and taking the time to do this. We're going to have to not make it so long till we have you back on. Maybe actually next time, man, we'll do this same kind of thing with Corey and actually get into some tech and talk about the Milwaukee 8s and what's going on with that. Because there's a wide open field there right now too.
Yeah. And with those coming out of warranty now, the 217s, 2017s, it's a constant battle for us. It's cool when you get the customer that comes in here and they're like, "Fuck my warranty, I want to go fast."
Yeah.
We're like, "Hell yeah!" We'll Other guys are like, "No, I got to stick with the factory because my warranty." And it's like,
right.
If that's your choice, that's your choice. But we actually have plans of picking up a new bike. Hopefully this next year, and if we do, we're going to film the whole thing because we're going to disassemble the fucking bike right in the parking lot of the dealership and just start leaving parts with them. Here, you guys want this shit? Because we're just going to throw it off the fucking bike. And when they start asking me about warranty, it's going to be funny. Craig wants to film the whole thing because
You're killing me.
Make a mockery of it. We'll purchase a, $25,000-$30,000 new bike and just literally, can Corey start taking shit off right now? Like, here, just go ahead. Here, there's a wrench. Pull that fucking exhaust off right here in the showroom and just give it back to him. We don't want that.
So I think you need to schedule a big open house for 2020 because based on the response here, there's an awful lot of people that want to come meet you and shake your hand. So
we've always had open door policy here, and we've had some really cool people stop by when they're on the road, and they were timid about coming in here. And I will stop whatever I'm fucking doing if somebody is on the road, wants to see the shop, wants to talk shop. I live upstairs, man. So if I take 2 or 3 hours out of my day to spend time with somebody, all that means is I'm just going to work later and go upstairs a little bit later, or I'm going to get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which I do all the time. I'll wake up at 2 in the morning with a bunch of anxiety. I'll walk downstairs and I'll start working in my damn sweatpants.
We live there part time. I can officially tell you that.
I know we have to go back. We're supposed to go back.
I'll weld in my fucking pajamas. I don't care.
All right, man. Well, listen. Tell everybody where they can keep up with you. They definitely want to sign up for the email program so that they're getting your.
Please
insider.
do. Go to the website, and you should get a pop up. And just put your email in, and then go and confirm it. We're going to really try to give you guys some value with that, and it's just going to be once a week. We're not going to blow up your inbox. It's a platform that allows us more control over what we're presenting than social media does, and it's going to let us just put a little more information out there for you guys. It's fun for us, and we'll bring you guys in here virtually with we spent a lot of time and money with the GoPro, and I've worked a lot with Chris, helping with some of my production stuff, and I'm trying to learn this stuff this year, and we're going to try to provide you guys with some cool stuff. So go to the website, check that out. You can follow us on social media, Faith Forgotten Choppers on Facebook, or Faith_Forgotten on Instagram. And you can always call the shop if you have a question, man. We're always here to talk. We love helping. We love being part of this industry in any way we can. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to me this year. I didn't do a very good job of responding to a lot of people because I definitely kind of went to a dark place for a long time when I hit my head. But it meant so much to me to have the support I had from this industry, from people I didn't even fucking know, people through social media, and then the people that are really, really close to me. Bill Dodge went out of his way coming back from Sturgis to stop here and see me, and I got to see Buddy then, and it just obviously Chris and Heather stopped by all the damn time, and I got to see them. They'll come in completely unannounced and just roll.
We'll be like, hey, we're going to lunch.
You're not answering your fucking phone.
Yeah, I'm like, dude,
what's wrong? We just drove down here to give you shit.
Dude, you're not answering your phones. The last time I did that, I said, you're not answering your phone. He said, so you just drove here?
But that shit means the world to me. And sometimes you need it, because sometimes the shit, it's a lonely, again, it goes back to the whole, oh, you have an amazing job. Oh, you've got an amazing shop, all this stuff. Absolutely. And I love everything I do and I'm happy about it. But there are some lonely times here. There's some times when I'm alone for a long time here and I work a lot of hours that my guys aren't here. I'm very grateful for them. They work their asses off and they're amazing and they're like brothers to me. And I'm so excited every morning when I get up. The only person more excited than me when Craig and Corey show up is my dog Kira. She goes fucking nuts when they get here. It's like her other dads are here. It's like Uncle Craig and Uncle Corey, and she's so excited to see them every day. But and that's what I always wanted, was to create a family here, not just employees, man, but a lifestyle, because we live this life, and we sacrifice a lot to live this life and be happy, and to be able to surround myself with the people I have has been invaluable. So and thank you for everybody on social media that looked after me, because if you sent me a message and I never said a word back to you, trust me, it meant something to me, and I appreciate you and I love you for that.
Right on, Will. One of the best guys I know in the world right there, man. Thank you so much for taking time with us tonight, and thanks to Craig, I'm sure, who is just sitting off to the side making sure that you're saying the right things. So
cue cards.
He's putting the extra time in too.
Big Sharpies and cue cards.
Right on, man. Thanks again, buddy. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Will.
Love you guys.
See you,
Love
Will.
you.
Bye.
Right on.
He really is
was a great
I just
show.
love Will.
Yep.
Like he's again one of my favorite
This
people.
this is honestly,
even when he doesn't answer the phone.
This is honestly why we do the show, because we have these people in our lives that we can have these incredible conversations with, and the shit's too good not to just put out there.
And Will, if you're still listening, take a minute and go through the comments because I obviously couldn't read them all.
Man, a lot.
Man,
of
you got to pay attention. Like these people, you mean a lot. You've done a lot for a lot of people, whether you know it or not. So,
right on, man. Well, listen, we're past the hour.
That was 2 hours.
Yeah.
Holy! What happened to 90 minutes? That was too good to be 90 minutes. So
120 minutes of more than all the bullshit we can fit. One more time, I want to remind you guys, we're coming to you through the privilege of the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio every 9 o'clock. Chris, come on. Hold it together, buddy. It's only 7 minutes over right now. Every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we come to you live with another episode of Shop Talk. You can catch us on all the major social media networks, also through Chopper Town after the fact, through any of the podcast providers that you choose. You can pick up Shop Talk, and we're looking for ideas, man. You know, feel free to go to our website is motoshoptalk.com. You can pick up the email there. Send us some information. What do you want to see? Who do you want to interview?
yeah, who do you want us to talk to? And if you really like it, share it.
Yep.
Share.
Hit the button. Send it out.
What button? It's not there.
The share button.
Again, we want to thank
Barclay Smashy. It's your show. Do whatever the hell you want. Loving it. We want to know who you guys want to talk to, though.
Right.
Who do you want to hear from? Like, if you could talk to anybody in the moto industry, who would it be?
Mark. He's here.
I'm here
every week.
I'm right here.
You know?
Give me a holler.
John Bugkiller Baker, Mark is not allowed to quit ever.
And if it wouldn't be too much of trouble there, Clark, I'd like to get you something really nice.
Say goodnight.
Good night, Gracie. So thanks for letting us into your headspace. Until next week.
Micah McCloskey. Yes.
What?
Drew wants us to interview Micah.
Yes.
I mean, legend. Absolutely. We'll call him this week.
Absolutely.
Good idea, Drew. Winner, chicken dinner.
Chicken.
Can I please go on with the closing statement?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, no, he's getting pissy.
She's a beaut,
7
Clark.
minutes over.
And that's
She's
from
busy.
Beaut, Clark.
That's from Xavier. She's a beaut, Clark.
Can I get you anything, Eddie? Something to eat? Drive you out in the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead?
For those of you that don't know, Rich, Xavier, Chris,
Rich,
and Mark
can
have
what? I'm not losing it. We needed a coffin.
Hour-long conversations and movie quotes.
Shitter's full.
Really? Honey, have you checked our shitters? All right, man. Listen, that's it for us tonight. Until next week, same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
Oh, boy.
Nope. We're out.
Same chopper channel.
With another episode of Shop Talk. Take it easy, man.